You ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Greatness Podcast, brought to you by Sky Insurance Brokers, the podcast where we interview and talk with top lenders and real estate advisors in the greater Sacramento area. So with me, as always, is Bree Milani.
Hello, hello. Happy to be here.
And today we have Nick Lucia with us.
Yes.
So happy I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, you
with
got it.
Lucia Lending Team here out of Roseville. So most people in the industry know who he is, and we are so excited to have you on. So thank you for taking the time to join us on our show.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for saying the last name right. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, no problem. As I was saying, with my last name, I've grown up with it being mispronounced, so I wanted to make sure I got yours right, which happy I did because I was mispronouncing it, so
I've
that's great.
mispronounced it and I've known you for a long time.
Everybody does. Not a big deal at all.
Well, good. Well, I always like to start off the show for the people listening just to get to know you a little bit better personally. So let's just start off by talking about, you, your family, where you grew up, and just some background things on you.
Sure, yeah. So I married for almost 18 years come November.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
She's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much. I think so.
Yeah, she's
and
gorgeous.
I think a lot of other people do as well, too, so that's good. But yeah, the beautiful wife, 2 kids. My daughter, Mackenzie, she is 12 now, going on 22, and my son is 9, going to be 10 later this month, and
nice.
yeah, he's the athlete. My daughter's the dancer. I just feel like we got the perfect family with
The all-American family.
with the exception of no dog yet. We're trying to convince my wife to
Just ask
and
Eric how he
Mom.
feels
Don't
about
do it. I have a 13-week-old puppy right now that just tore a hole in my carpet. So, yeah. Try
remember.
to buy some time there.
I'm part of the. I'm kind of on the kid's side. I want one too, but then I don't think they realize how much work it really is when they're babies.
Yeah.
Waking up in the middle of the night, bathroom, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But that's the family dynamic. We live in El Dorado Hills, and I grew up in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Yeah, San Ramon area. Danville, and went to school there for, obviously grew up there, went to high school there, and then came up here for college.
Okay.
And never.
To Sac State?
Yep.
Okay.
Sac State.
Stingers up.
Get your stingers up. That's right.
That's where I went.
Yeah, that my first experience of that was in the locker room for football, and I was like, what are we doing? Like,
Why
what
are
do you
we
mean
doing
stingers
stingers
up?
up?
Yeah, and it was
What's
like
going on here?
this whole like bzzz.
Oh,
So cheesy.
And this is like, oh gosh, I don't know about this. Yeah, but that was hard transition for me because I think in high school I lost, in playing sports, football, I think we lost maybe 2 games my entire 4 years to losing almost every single game my freshman year of college. So that was a learning curve and experience, but talking about greatness, right? I mean, that's how do you fight back,
Sure.
right? Is really what it comes down to. So
That's good. So you played football at Sac State. What position?
so I played outside linebacker.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Transitioned in high school, played middle, and then transitioned to outside, and it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, very nice. So going back to your stingers up and the whole buzzing
Yeah.
thing. So you're shocked the first time, but I bet year 4 you were probably the one leading and doing the whole jumping
Oh,
around
yeah,
and stuff.
of course.
So it went
Of
from being
course.
weird to just
Yeah, I mean,
exciting.
normal.
If you've ever played sports, male or female, it doesn't matter what sport it is, but crazy things happen in the locker room, and it's just about fun and having fun with your teammates
kinda
and
roll
going to
with
war, and
Things get weird real quick.
I
agree.
actually thought when I went to Sac State, I was like, wait, we really say stingers up? Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, stingers up.
Yep.
I actually like that a lot. I've never heard it.
No?
And I like it a lot. Yes.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
Well, that's good. So what I know we were talking before this. What hobbies are you into, and what things do you like to do in your free time? Which I know you have very limited free time.
Make TikToks.
Being that you work late.
yeah, TikToks. We just try to fit in as much as we can. I obviously love hanging out with the kids and the family on the weekends, which is unique because really when my wife is, works for a builder. And so when she was in the trenches as an actual agent, obviously she was never home, right?
Right.
She was working Saturdays and Sundays. And so now that she's I guess, furthered her career path in that side of the industry, and now on the VP of sales of things, and she's home on the weekends, but still juggling calls and stuff like that. But we're able to do things as a family, right? And it's a lot more fun. And so you can definitely catch us at baseball games, sport events for the kids, and dance stuff for the kids too. But yeah, we mean, like this weekend we're going to the A's game for my son's birthday.
Oh, nice. So A's, you guys are an A's family.
Yeah, we're an A's family for sure.
That's okay.
I guess we got to cut.
I know.
the podcast
It's okay.
short.
Not at least they're not the Dodgers.
True.
That's fine. So
Well, I mean, we like the Giants too.
I get it, but A's are your team. I'm the
My-
same way. I like the A's, but Giants are my team.
Yeah. My son is a Matt Chapman diehard fan.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
He's good.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
But that, and let's see here. What else do we like to do? I mean, we like to travel. We just little short weekend trips to Carmel or San Diego or Del Cornell, and go to Tahoe. It's right, obviously right up the hill from us.
Yeah.
So that's easy.
It's the best to be able to just get away for the weekend, come
yes.
back, reset,
A lot of good weekend
recharge.
spots around here.
Yeah, that's what we do. We're weekend warriors. That's what we call ourselves.
Yes, weekend warrior. And my big reset is skateboarding. That's my number one hobby. I love to do it. We've got family, kids. Like my daughter's great at it too. She loves it. It's
Oh, that's
crazy.
awesome.
Did you watch it in the Olympics year? Was it the first year it was in the Olympics? Was this
Yeah, this is the first year.
I know there was a guy from Davis, right? That was supposed to be the gold. It was him against a guy from Japan that were supposed to be there, and I don't think he performed well. And someone from Phoenix actually took the silver for America. But I was watching the whole freestyle. It was pretty incredible.
Wow.
It's insane what
is.
these guys can do with a skateboard.
Yeah.
I don't do that kind of stuff.
You're like,
I
I ride.
I'm more of like a cruiser skateboard guy,
Yeah.
and just have fun and
Like longboard or
both.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
longboard and cruisers. Yeah,
Yeah.
so just enjoy it and have fun. Kids love it. We have got like 14 skateboards now.
Oh my
Jeez.
God.
That's good.
You have a
Got quite
collection.
Yeah, we've got a collection. Yeah.
Any major injuries that have come from that sport? Because I know that's usually one that's a broken wrist,
Yeah.
elbows, and all that, right?
Knock on wood. Thank God, not yet.
Oh gosh,
Okay.
he's gonna text you
No,
this weekend.
No, knock on
I
wood.
know.
No, I knocked on wood myself. We're good.
But yeah, I mean, there's been a few like coming down the hill a little too fast, and
Crash
Yeah.
and burn,
Yeah.
some what do they call it?
road burn.
Road
or-
burn. Yeah, road rash.
Road
yeah,
rash,
some
yeah.
of those.
Yeah.
But nothing major.
That's good.
Yeah.
No,
So
it's a good, healthy sport.
yeah, it's fun.
And I know you're a wealth of knowledge with just some other random things. We were talking before about your fondness for chiropractic videos. So
Oh yeah.
I just learned
ring
here a few
dinger.
minutes ago
Ring
that
dinger.
Texas is the forefront of chiropractic practices, basically, with
I
the
guess
ring
so.
dinger coming out of there and all
Yeah.
sorts of things.
Yeah, the ring dinger and the turbos. I mean, just all these new things.
We're all
coming
going to
out.
Texas next
Yeah.
week. Let's
Yeah.
go get adjusted.
That'll be very, very interesting. Yeah, it's good information and good knowledge to have.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn. I could give you an adjustment if you need one. I've watched so many darn videos of it.
My pinched nerve right now, I might take you up on that. So
I
we'll
would
see what happens.
video that and post it all over Facebook.
We
if
ring
did
dinger
that.
right here
yeah,
on the
ring
table?
dinger there.
Oh, jeez.
That would be
Can you
fantastic.
imagine?
That would be fun.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thanks for sharing that. So I
Yeah.
want to let's talk about how you got into the mortgage industry. I always find it interesting, just everyone's journey. Much like insurance industry, really no one plans on when I grow up, I want to be an insurance agent. I mean, some might want to be an insurance agent or mortgage advisor, but usually there's something that came about that transition. So would you mind sharing kind of what you were doing before and what made you want to transfer into the mortgage industry and build the successful career that you've obviously built?
Yeah, geez. I got to go back 17 years now.
How long have you been in it? 17 years?
17 years,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fantastic.
Been doing it for
Congratulations.
17 years, thanks. Yeah, I started early in my career, more of consumer direct. So, when I say consumer direct, it's like the call center-esque type
Okay.
model, the Quickens, the Loan
Yeah.
Depots, the big companies like that. And I worked for Ameriquest right out the gates. Yeah, was there for, I think only about a year or so. And then I left and went into the broker business. But how I got into the business, honestly, man, I was working for this company called, I think it was right out of when I graduated from college, it was called Sidcor or something. And,
Okay.
And I kind of got sold on a dream, I guess. But hey,
worked out.
it was selling AT&T phone lines. My territory was in Stockton to B2B, and I was good at it. And so I knew I liked sales,
Sure.
but I didn't want to do this clearly. Or I guess what I was doing, selling, converting people from Pac Bell or whatever it was at the time to AT&T to save a cent a minute. That was my slogan, my motto. Save you a cent a minute, guy.
Cent a minute, yeah.
Because when you're a business, you have business phone lines. You're paying for incoming and
Sure.
outgoing, right? So I landed a couple big accounts with Domino's. This guy had I don't know, he had like 27 locations or something like that. And so it had quite a few lines. And I came back with, it was all like, had to write everything out and came back with a huge order. And people were just like, what? Like, it's your second day. And I was just like, I don't know. I mean, so I've obviously had a love for sales and just talking to people and having fun with it. And then mortgage kind of just landed in my lap. I had one of my wife's sorority sisters' husbands was working at AmeriQuest, and all of a sudden had a brand new BMW, and I bought a house, and I was just like, what's going on? This guy selling drugs or something? What's going on, right? Found out he was in the mortgage business, and I was like, all right, well, what's that? What is a mortgage, right? I mean, I was 20 something, fresh out of college, right? And so fell into it and absolutely fell in love with it. And love it still to this day. I mean, there's always the days where you leave thinking to yourself, well, why do I do this, right?
Yeah.
But it's something that just keeps me crawling back 17 years later and still at it. So I love it.
Yeah, and you said you guys are about to celebrate your 18th year anniversary. So you basically got married and then career changes.
Literally
next
got
year.
married.
So a lot of changes in your life at that time.
Went on our honeymoon, came back. And it was like pretty much first day on the job, a day or two later when we got back. And it was kind of old school. I literally sat in my manager's office, and he put me in front of a old school TV that had the little built-in cassette, VHS. And I watched this guy by the name of Dale Vermillion, still at it today, coaching, mentoring, training. Okay. And the one video that stuck out to me the most was becoming a wow. Just basically wowing your customer, having a different experience, different conversations with your clients, and just giving them, making them feel like they're the only customer when, sometimes loan officers might only have one. But, as you grow your business and you've got multiple, and you got to make them feel just as special as the next.
Right.
Because we're a dime a dozen, right?
Yeah.
And buying a house is such a huge thing, and
Huge.
I think a lot of people don't look at it that way. Especially loan officers who do a large volume, they're like, oh, just another deal. But that's somebody's greatest purchase they'll ever make in their life. So
absolutely,
making them feel like they are your one and only customer is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, it's very transactional when you work for those consumer direct type companies, right? It's just, they don't really teach you back, when I got into the business, like how important the database is, to love on your database, love on your clients, take care of them. And when I did learn that, it's just the business started growing like crazy, because then, clients know that you care about them. It's not just a transaction. You're helping them with the biggest purchase of their lives, and they refer friends and family. And it's awesome.
Or when they move, you'll be the first person they call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Seth Godin, The Purple Cow?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, because that's kind of his whole motto too, is the differentiator and creating a unique experience to separate yourself from the masses, right? And really creating something that's memorable. Memorable. So that's good, because in this industry, that's very, very important. Ours is the same thing. I mean, that's something we're always working on, is how can we create a unique client experience that's going to be different from the masses, right? And really stick out, that's going to get people talking about you, feel appreciated, and ultimately then feel comfortable referring and repeat business and bringing people your way.
Anybody can go online and go to Geico, or for you guys, go to Quicken, go online and just get a quote. And we hear it all the time. And I personally had an experience where I won't say the company, but I was insured through them, and it was awful. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And it's like,
not Sky Insurance.
Not Sky. No, this is years ago. It was like when I was first, I think I was like 19, and I got into an accident. And I just remember like, this is not right, and it's just having that experience, especially look what we're going through right now in the world, like especially in California. People are losing their homes and their cars and their belongings, and making sure we're really loving on those people, making sure they feel like we've got your back. And
absolutely,
that's what it's all about. And
it's
if you
huge.
don't, you're not going to last in this business, because I don't think that face-to-face or that one-on-one interaction will ever go away, regardless of what people think of online.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think about it too from the perspective, TurboTax, right? I mean, how many CPAs out there were freaked out about this, right? I mean, there's a fair share that will use the TurboTax because they don't have difficult income, they're W-2'd, and they don't have a bunch of write-offs or need a bunch of write-offs, and they just hammer it out through TurboTax, right? Piece of cake.
Yeah.
But then there's the fair share that obviously need a CPA or should have a CPA or a tax preparer to help them through making sure they're doing things right. So,
or even just want one, because maybe they don't. Maybe they're not difficult or advanced, but they really still value that relationship and making sure that a professional is taking care of them.
Right.
It's in the practice.
I mean, let's be honest. This is something that's going to the IRS, right?
Yeah.
Last thing you want to do is make a
Hopefully it's
mistake
done
on
right.
that
Oh,
stuff, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, a little knock on the door
Yeah,
from
I want someone else co-signing this this tax return.
You
men
said
in
it was
black
okay.
suits knocking on your door, like, yeah, no. And
No,
I'll pay
no,
the
thank
extra
you.
couple $100 for a CPA to hammer it
So
out for
worth
us.
it.
Yeah.
And just as with loans too, you know.
Right.
And when we bought our first house, I'm like, I want to make sure it's somebody I know, that they know what they're doing, so that I can ask questions. I mean, I didn't know anything about mortgage. I was in it. I was working with loan officers, but I was doing insurance. I didn't know the first thing about mortgage. And there's so much that goes into it. People don't realize.
So many moving parts. It's
oh my
crazy.
gosh, it's crazy. It was just like when we bought our second house, I was a little more comfortable, but the first house, I was like, this is
Terrifying.
overwhelming. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a great
Absolutely.
word.
Terrifying. It is.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of consumers potentially underestimate what
Yeah.
goes into it. And of course, you know, with 75% of the buyers last year, 2020, 75% were that millennial generation,
Yeah.
right? And
Is that what the stat was? Wow,
Yeah.
that's
I
incredible.
believe it.
yeah, and so they want simplicity. They want easy. They want, you know, they don't want to talk all the time. They want to just kind of push a button, you know. But in the big grand scheme of things, you know, are you getting the best loan? Are you getting the best advice from a call center, you know, loan officer that maybe you just got licensed and
Not even in the same state you live in.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So local presence is so important.
So important,
So
especially
important.
in this market right now
Well, and
where
I
you can't have
think-
any hitches.
I've
Yeah.
heard from a lot of real estate agents, a few that we've actually interviewed on here, is that they aren't even looking at offers from online. They're like, we need you to get pre-qualified with a local person because we don't know when that's going to close, and time is of the essence right now in this industry. So hopefully that is kind of playing on your guys' side, that people do want that local presence.
Absolutely does. There are the agents that are fearful of having those types of conversations with their clients, but in reality, they're doing their clients a disservice.
Right.
They're not going to get an offer accepted.
Right.
Especially if it's a, rocket explosion mortgage, whatever.
Whatever,
I
whatever
mean,
they decide to call their
and I don't want to make it sound like we're beating down the door of Rocket Mortgage or Quicken, because I'm sure they serve a really good purpose. But
Right.
I just feel like I can, my team and I can serve help clients through a much better process and be there to help educate them through that process too, which is important.
Definitely agree.
You have an amazing team, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Thankful for
So
them.
stepping
Grateful.
back to the beginning here, so you said you were in the call center for your first year or 2 years or a year?
Yeah, I mean, consumer direct for probably about, I want to say maybe 10 to 12 years.
Okay, so you did that for a while then.
Yeah, I did it for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so basically started off at AmeriQuest. Was there for about maybe a year and a half or so, and then went up into the broker side of the business and grew out a branch with a partner, and we kind of created this call center-esque type model, and did really well, and it grew, expanded, and then 2008-9 happened, and so we had to kind of shrink things down a little bit to stay lean and mean, and just fought through it. You got to make 100 calls to get 2 applications back then. Now it's like you got to make 300 calls in a day to get 1 application for somebody that qualifies, because the guidelines just got so crazy tough. And obviously the loss of equity and people being upside down in their homes, and it was tough.
And just consumer fear.
Yeah,
Right? A
consumer
lot of people
fear.
just didn't want to get in that market after going through what was going
Right.
happen. So
Yeah. But
Yeah,
then,
that's crazy.
and then so from there, I had 2 other partners. We started our own brokerage, mortgage brokerage, Voyage Home Loans. What was that, in August of 2008? Everybody thought we were
Wow.
crazy. I mean, these are when the big banks are laying off in the masses, right? I mean, B of A is letting people go, 20, 30 employees at a time, right? There was a website that was called the Imploder Meter.
Oh, I've heard about this.
I ended up having to have our IT guy block it from the server, just the entire website, because loan officer would literally get in and look at this like, oh, another 3 banks went under today, wholesale banks. And it's just like, focus on the
looking at it.
positive.
Yeah.
Like,
There's still opportunity. Like,
yeah,
you can help
there
people.
is. There's always opportunity.
Right.
It's just what you make of it, right?
yeah.
And so, we started that August. I mean, our wives thought we were crazy. With
that's a
starting a
crazy
mortgage
time.
starting a mortgage company is not cheap, right?
Sure.
With everything that you need, and then you got a 30 days of credit pulls underneath your belt, and it's like, oh gosh, that bill. And I mean, and so we got lucky. I mean, we didn't get lucky. I mean, it was hard work.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. But we had some really good employees that bought into our vision and pushed hard for us. And, we obviously were there on their, right along their sides. I mean, first one's in, last one's leave. And then we ended up merging with Paramount Equity Mortgage.
Okay.
Yeah. And we had the office out in Rancho. We grew that like crazy. I ended up leaving and actually left around, what was it? I think late October, November. I didn't have a plan, really, to be honest with you. I mean, I knew I was going to stay in the business, but I didn't have a plan of where I wanted to, what was the next step for my journey. But I actually got to enjoy the holidays with my family. Which is nice because I think the Pilgrims and for Thanksgiving and Santa Claus, they don't like the mortgage business because it's like the strategized the actual day of Thanksgiving and day of Christmas, like right at month end.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you enjoy that time with your family, open presents, and then boom, right back to month end at the office, right? Yeah. And so that was unique. That was different for me to not have to rush right back to work and spend some time with it, because couple days right after Christmas is like so much fun. Like I remember as a kid, like get to open the toys and play with them and all that kind of stuff. So that was fun. And then I basically went to Movement Mortgage.
Okay.
And got back into the trenches with building my own book of business, which is really what I wanted to do. Was working at that executive level is great and all. I learned a lot, but I like to be in the trenches with my clients, with my teammates, and creating a difference,
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great.
Because at Paramount, I remember that was like in the Rancho office, that was like that whole call center area still. So I didn't realize it was not that long ago that you moved to Movement.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that? 4 years?
Geez, I want to say it's about 5 now.
5 years.
Yeah,
okay.
5.5, maybe 6.
You made a huge movement, and not to say movement, but you made a huge splash in that amount of time. That's incredible. I didn't realize
very impactful. I didn't know that either. That's incredible.
Yeah. See, I told you I didn't know the whole story about you.
Yeah.
That's good. So then, with you, one thing I know about you is your work ethic, right? You still kind of carry that first in, last out mantra. I know, we had that event last night. You couldn't make it. And you said, you didn't get out of the office till 10 or 11 last night. I still remember the first time really you and I connected, like a lot of people, we become friends on Facebook and we get to know of each other through posts and all that. And it was when you're at Movement. I think it was 11 o'clock at night, and you shot me a video. Oh, yeah. You were driving home in your car, and you said, "Hey, we need to just connect and see about working together." And I just remember it just resonated. Like, man, this guy's leaving at 11 from his office in Sac, and I said, "Yeah, that's a guy I want to surround myself with," because you get people that just are really driven and want to make an impact in whatever industry they're in. So that made a great first impression on me. That was kind of our first contact. That was a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's not for everybody, right? I mean, and there's times where I'm here till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm thinking to myself, like, why? But the why is the clients, right? I mean, that's the number one focus, is to make sure that every single client feels like they're the only client. Yeah. Like we were talking about before we started. Yep. That's the most important thing for me, is making sure clients, get their responses, get calls backs, and I'm human. We make mistakes. Sure. Sometimes things slip through the cracks, and it happens, but you try to mitigate that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like with you moving now to Fairway, but when you moved to Movement, it did kind of free up some time, though. Even though you are working those crazy hours, you do have the flexibility to go take your kid to an A's game for his birthday. So that's the nice part of not, you put in those hours, you do what you can, but you also have that flexibility to say, hey, it's the weekend, I'm going to go hang out with my family. So I know like the call center type of, it's not like that. It's You've got to be working from sun up to sundown, weekends, answer your phone. If you want that deal, you better be answering your phone. Whereas now you have trusted partners that are like, if he doesn't answer his phone, I know it's because he'll call me back, or whatever it may be. And that's huge to have that flexibility to be with your family. Yeah,
it's that call center, that wears on you after. I mean, people are very shocked when I say I did it for 10 to 12 years, because usually the shelf level for a loan officer is about a year, is about 2 and maybe 2.5 to 3 years. Yeah, that is incredible. Max, and of course I wasn't in the trenches the entire time, but growing a business, starting a business, a brokerage, that's a whole nother level of stress and a bunch of other things that need to be taken into consideration.
Not to mention a market crash.
The market too, and working around those, and it's a lot.
Yeah, no,
But it's fun.
absolutely.
It's fun,
I know
too.
that high energy just environment, even like you said, you might not have been in the trenches the whole time, but just in that environment, that culture, there's such that burnout factor that
Oh, yeah.
you see. So it's just,
Yeah.
that's incredible. You did it for a decade, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Was your wife a real estate agent the whole time as well?
Majority of it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's power duo there.
Oh, so she was a real estate agent during the 07, 08, and you were in mortgage during the 07, 08.
Yeah, she's never referred me a single deal, though.
oh my God.
That's okay, though, because I got to sleep next to her.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's probably better,
sometimes
actually.
things happen in this business.
Yeah.
We try to consult and tell clients what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't call in and ask before they do it.
Sure.
And so, sometimes the wheels fall off every
Yeah.
once in a while. And
It's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
Keep
No,
it separate.
smart.
yeah, so.
I would do
Well,
the same.
well, good. We're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, I really want to dive into your current status now here at Fairway and what you're doing with your team, because you got something good going on here that I want to dive
Sounds
a little
good.
bit deeper. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
All right, we are back with Nick Lucia. We've been talking about his journey into the mortgage industry and his amazing decade in a call center where he tore it up, which still blows me away. We're such a burnout factor. But
Yeah.
what we want to do now is talk about, you've transitioned through your career, 17 years. You're battle tested, as we've discussed. You made it through this, 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
You're married to a realtor, so you guys, eat, sleep, and drink this industry, which
Pretty
is
much.
fantastic as a
Yeah.
family. And now you've found an incredible home here at Fairway, and you have an incredible team. So we have the privilege of doing some work with you guys. It's been phenomenal. So we see, because we work with a lot of people in this industry, and we see when teams come together that have their processes in place and their communication on top, you can feel it. It's apparent. It's different. We definitely feel that with your team. So let's just talk about kind of current status. What's going on right now? Share with the listeners kind of what your team's doing, who you have, and let's just go from there.
Yeah, super grateful and blessed for my teammates. I could not do it without them, right? And when somebody hears Nick or the Lucia lending team, it's literally the entire team that
Yeah.
makes this easy and smooth for the clients. Super blessed, and just recently grew the team. And it was Carla and I pretty much all last year.
She's phenomenal, which I'm sure you know. But
Beyond
gosh,
phenomenal.
she's amazing.
I've gone through a handful of loan process or loan partners, is what I call Carla, because she's literally my partner in crime. She's helping me through all of this stuff, right? And it was just her and I last year. And it was, the transition from one company to Fairway, and then all of a sudden COVID, and then all of a sudden, interest rates plummeted. It was just like there was days where we felt like we were barely holding on, and just internally pulling our hair out, but making sure that the clients felt like they were again the only client that existed, right? And it was crazy. So we recently brought on a couple other teammates to help out and grow the team and just divvy up all the different tasks and stuff like that. So we've got Braxton and Amanda now too.
Yeah,
they're doing very
well-oiled machine. You guys are solid.
And I've never met Amanda, and I actually saw her last night, and I knew what she looked like because of how well you do on your social media of making it like a whole team. I was like, hey,
Absolutely.
I've never met you, but I see you on all his videos and TikTok, so that's awesome.
And Carla's fantastic. I mean, I've dealt with her, and we finally met in person. But talk about someone to help build with is dedicated. So I'm still blown away.
Yeah.
That in a year she has 400 Peloton rides. She posted that the other day.
I know.
I know.
That's insane.
I need to go.
I thought I was doing
get a
good with
bike.
like 220 over a 2-year period. I'm like, I'm humming. No, not even close. Like she tells me sometimes she does 2 or 3 a
was gonna
day.
say, that's a couple
So
of
that
them.
is so you have someone that's dedicated, that's goal oriented. So yeah, you have a good one there, and I know the rest of your team is solid too. You have a really special team to grow and develop here in this marketplace.
Yeah, it's a game changer for us, but it definitely starts with Carla. She is phenomenal at what she does, and she cares. That's the hardest part, right? When you're finding a loan partner to work with, do they care just as much as you, right? And it's you gotta have to take that backup singer role in a way, right? I mean, she really does, and I try not to make her ever feel that way, but in reality, I'm the kind of the face of the team, right?
Yeah.
And I've never, like, that's weird for me to say that because I've never needed to be the center of attention. You know, I don't want to, sometimes I don't feel comfortable being the center of attention.
Be awkward.
But she's absolutely phenomenal. And she helps out in a lot of different areas and just keeps things moving forward and super smooth for the clients, which is awesome. And then Braxton is newly licensed and taking off like crazy, so he's doing really well. And Amanda is definitely coming in, and she's got a lot of learning curves to come through. I mean, there's just a lot.
Is she new to the industry,
Huge.
Amanda?
Somewhat newer,
Okay.
yeah. And there's just it's a tough business, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Changes
it just
every day.
takes time to learn, why go FHA versus go conventional and so on and so forth, right? I mean, it just takes time, and she's going through those learning curves right now and trying to figure it all out, and it's got the help and support from us.
I was going to say, especially someone new though, or newer, like you were saying, I see it being a huge positive coming on a team that's, high octane, high volume, because it's like kind of just thrown in the deep end, but she's going to learn a lot quicker than maybe something that's, more of a slower pace, in my opinion. So I think she's obviously landed in a really good spot for her as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and she's younger, so she brings a different element to the team in a way where, again, 75% of the population that bought last year, 2020, was the younger generation, right?
Yeah.
The millennial generation.
That stat
So
blows me away still.
Yeah,
it's
that is
insane,
crazy.
right? And so I think she brings a whole nother level of perspective to how to nurture those clients and how to stay in front of them and how to cater to how they want to do business. To make sure that we can successfully help them. And so I think that everybody on the team contributes and brings something unique, which is huge.
Yeah.
And this is by far, I feel like it's the dream team that I've had, right? So I'm extremely happy, still obviously fine tuning, the process and making sure nothing slipping through the cracks, right? That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you're, trying to, build and fly the plane at the same time.
Exactly.
But it's a phenomenal team. I'm super blessed.
Do you see yourself growing more headcount wise over the next 12 to 24 months, or is that not even in the cards right now? It's more just a system growth.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for so long. Like I can almost sense when 30 to 60 to 90 days before. It's a 90-day cycle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we started grinding hard today for new business, in 90 days it will develop,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's just the way it goes. And so now that we've got Braxton up to speed and Amanda up to speed and Carla's humming on all cylinders now, and taking things off my plate keeping me focused on my tasks and my responsibilities to keep things coming, the business coming into the doors, the clients, to help them out. I'm already looking at probably November needing to bring somebody else
Okay.
on,
Wow.
maybe October. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So talking about this millennials and bringing on Amanda younger, someone that's younger on your team, I noticed with you when you made the move here, your whole marketing strategy changed pretty significantly. And
Yeah.
what I'm talking about is really your position, which is apparent and purposeful on the social media platforms. From someone that we do quite a bit on social media as well. So I always like to see what other people are doing. I think you're doing it well and doing a great job with it, and it is fun.
It's awesome.
And
Yeah.
it's fantastic. So walk me through kind of that shift or what got you to take that jump, because someone that hasn't really ever done that, to make that shift is probably maybe a little uncomfortable for you, or is this going to work, or is this the right direction? Because I mean, it was a pretty big pivot for you. Would you agree from a marketing standpoint?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and I'm still hesitant on going on social media.
Yeah.
I just
Some days I'm like,
watch
should I post that?
scrolling through, and then you see a picture of you or an image or a video, and it's like, oh my gosh, you hear your voice, and you're just like, oh my god. I try to stay as active as possible, but it is a lot different for me. Again, just not wanting to, I don't mind being the center of attention, but sometimes I'm okay being behind the scenes too, But yeah, I would say the big pivot for me was my sister-in-law, my wife's sister, Angie, and so she's helped me quite a bit. She's an influencer. and she's, kind of, the first few initial conversations were, she had like a questionnaire for me, and she wanted to know, like, what do I, I mean, she knows me obviously pretty well, right? Being married to her sister for almost 18 years. But it was, like, what are some of your hobbies? Like you were asking earlier, right? And, and she knows skateboarding is one of my big hobbies, and is like, I don't know if I want to pump that information out to the consumer, like, I mean, skateboarding doesn't have this
mortgage
great
look.
Right, more, the mortgage look, and she's like, no, and she pretty much forced it, and
be authentic to
and
who you
exactly,
are, right?
and that's her biggest thing is be real, be you, be authentic, and be genuine.
Yeah.
And it's, she was right, of course, and I've already told her that, so this is not the first time I'm telling this to her.
You win.
She won, yes. But yeah, it's just a different, unique approach, and just having fun with it. And
your whole team seems to have bought into it as well, because you guys do a lot of stuff collectively together.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't classify myself as the typical mortgage guy, like,
which is refreshing.
Wear the shirt and tie and suit to work, and I mean, I've done that, of course, but that's not me.
Yeah.
And kind of looking back on, when I started in the business, it was more of like, I want to be me. And if clients don't like me for who I am, then that's okay, but I think there's a fair share of clients that are out there that not necessarily are skateboarders and want to work with Nick, but just understand. And I hear it, of course, now from clients that have been engaged and watching and following, and then finally reach out to me. They just, I love it. I love everything you're doing. And it's, kind of awkward for me to hear that in a way, because again, don't want to always be the center of attention, but it's growing on me, of course. I'm feeling more and more comfortable with it.
Well, you've become more relatable.
Yeah.
Authenticity. I mean, you're hitting on really what's important for a lot of people.
Right.
And especially with that statistic you showed of 75% of the buyers, I mean, that's going to be really important. So now you're able to connect on all those levels on top of, the experience and expertise you have in this industry and what you bring to the table just from a professional standpoint. But now you're able to just connect on all those other levels. I think it's just so important. So yes, your sister-in-law was right, and I think it's done good. I mean, from a fan now watching what you guys do. Yeah. I mean, perfect example. We had the happy hour with the Fairway team last night, and I was mentioning that I hope you either come in last night, or I was hoping for Captain Obvious jacket to be in the show today. And Bree's like, what are you talking about? I said, you haven't seen it? So I actually scrolled through to find that one where you did the dial up, and then boom, and you're in the Captain Obvious outfit. Yeah. And so it's right. So look, we're talking about it now. It was on my mind. I shared it last night. I mean, you're creating that energy in those conversations,
just
and that's so important. Yeah, it's exactly. You're just having fun.
Having fun.
We had almost this exact conversation with a real estate agent.
Yeah.
He said his sales, when he started being himself, his sales just went through the roof. And he was like, I say the F word. This is just who I am as a person. And if you don't like it, you don't have to work with me.
Right.
And ever since he embraced that, and he's like, I don't wear a suit and tie. His business has, like, I don't even remember the percentage, but it's gone up drastically. Yep. And it sounds like it's done the same for you, because now you not only enjoy it, but you're working with clients that are relatable to what you like to do as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, obviously I know enough about what's going on in the market and, all that stuff, but I'm just not a market update loan officer. Right. I think a lot of those loan officers that are talking about that stuff, it's so high level that the consumer's just like, what?
Straight over their head.
And
you're just getting creative with other things, because for me, that's like, that could be a crutch. Like, okay, here's my weekly video I'm going to do, which it's not bad, but you should be mixing in kind of the more creative, authentic stuff, because that's really where you're going to be connecting with individuals.
Yeah.
And I know exactly, like for our company, it was a couple years ago. I personally had to make, much like you, I don't always like to be. I wouldn't post stuff. I was like, oh man, everyone's going to think I am cocky, posting stuff about myself, and worried. And I just had a shift. I'm going to start documenting my journey. That's the way I looked at it, and kind of changed my whole mindset. Yeah. But we started heavily posting and just getting content out there and having fun with our videos in our office. And for our agency, it's been a big differentiator, because people talk about stuff we do and joke with us, and it's just been fantastic. So I think it's just such a good move for you.
The culture too that we have, and just like you guys, it's like, oh, that's a team you want to work with. A team that genuinely cares about each other, has a good culture, kind of like a family more than we are work group.
Yeah, because you mentioned like lending's like it's so forgettable. Well, insurance is extra forgettable, right?
Right.
So it's like we have I'm competing against a lizard that wants to save you 15% and all that and cavemen and all sorts of stuff, right? So for us, it's like how do we really drill that home? So I think it's so transferable transferable in really every industry, and you and your team are doing a great job,
really
and I commend you that you have your whole team bought in on it. 'Cause that's something we're still working with us, is
Yeah.
just getting our whole team to really dive into the whole social media platform.
Yeah, it's fun. It's unique. It's fun, and it's different, right?
Yep.
And so that's the game plan.
Keeps the job fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So does your team, I know you guys do all different types of loans, right? Do you guys specifically specialize in any, or any niches you're in, or is it more of a generalist approach? How would you classify that?
Geez, that's a good question. I mean, we obviously, I've gotten, I would say, I think I've got this unique ability to figure out the hard, tough scenarios, which is stressful at times,
Sure.
right? I get quite a few, I guess, what we call a rescue loan. Where maybe the clients are already in contract, maybe the original loan officer missed something during their initial pre-qualification, pre-approval steps of the process. I've gotten, I guess this reputation for figuring out the Rubik's Cube and helping clients, strategize and figure out how to get them across the finish line. Like I said, I mean, it's definitely stressful because, the last thing I want to do is take on a loan and then have to ultimately tell the clients like, hey, it's just not going to work, and here's the why behind it. But, it's just asking a lot of questions before it actually ends up landing on my desk. But, I mean, we do obviously, all of the above, right?
VA loans?
Yeah,
I
VA
mean, all
loans,
of them, right? Yeah.
FHA loans.
203K loans.
203K loans.
203K
We're
loans.
working on one right now
Yeah.
for you guys.
203K. What is it? USDA loans. I mean, we do it
Okay,
all.
good. So you have all the tools available. Now those rescue loans, those current scenarios you're talking about, they're actually in contract, like in the middle of escrow on a home. And I mean, high stress situation. So the ones that you are able to solve the Rubik's Cube, and I mean, how rewarding is that? Because now they're coming to you thinking their dream home, visualizing their kids going to that school district. I mean, it's all falling apart. So they're probably frantic.
Yeah,
it's probably a
they're
unique scenario.
very hesitant at first, right? I mean, they're almost wanting to pull the plug, the client, that is, and of course the agents are encouraging them to, kind of just stick it out.
Sure.
Let's see. Some of it's just being, upfront and proactive and reaching out to the listing agent, letting them know that, hey, look, the buyer's transitioned from one lender to another. Here's the why behind it. Just, explaining those details where I think sometimes the buyer's agent doesn't want to let the listing agent know that they've transitioned lenders in the middle of the process because they're fearful that they're going to get a demand to close or something along those lines. But and you just got to rip the Band-Aid off and have those conversations and let them know, like, hey, look, this is where we're at. This is what's going on. And here's how we're going to accomplish this for your side and our side.
Yeah.
And just kind of start pulling those layers back. But it is very rewarding. It's almost more of a sign of relief, like, okay, we got it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like full throttle, like
Because you have shorter time frames now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
you have 18 days to figure this out.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
yeah. Definitely high stress. It
Yeah.
puts a lot of pressure on the team. Circling back to Carla here, she probably does not like those types of scenarios because she's already got a lot on her desk as it is, and that's adding more stress to her and the other teammates. But
you earn more business doing that, because we deal with that sometimes where people are like, hey, I've got a home in the middle of nowhere and we're closing in 3 days and we don't have insurance. And
Yeah.
when you wow that client and the person who referred it to you, they're a client for life.
That sets you apart. That sets you apart.
Sets you apart and makes you different.
We're not just going to just try to take the low hanging fruit here. We can dive deep and actually use our expertise, flex our knowledge and muscle a little bit and get this done for you. So great job. That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
thanks.
So where do you see the current market at right now? And where do you see it going? I know it seemed like, from my standpoint, someone kind of in the industry, but really on the outside, it seemed like the refinance boom might have been over because rates were kind of ticking up. But correct me if I'm wrong, there's been kind of another correction now and it's back in full swing. Is that an accurate statement or not quite there?
Yeah, I mean, rates are just all over the map. I mean, it's hard to gauge. They're down one day, up the next day, and I think there's enough refinance business there. I think it's really kind of consulting the client.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody, and I'm just as much as a consumer as you guys, and the people out there looking to buy and refinance, right?
Yeah.
And they want the lowest rate. And I get it, when I'm driving down Douglas Boulevard and need to fill up with gas, my head's on a swivel for the cheapest gallon of gas too,
Right.
Especially with today's prices, right?
$4.15 a gallon. I just
But
paid.
I think it's more than just an interest rate, right? I mean, we obviously know interest rate's important. We know that interest rate drives the financing and the numbers behind everything. But I had a client she's actually in the business as a TC, well-known TC. And she was going with her servicer and basically wanted a 15-year fix, wanted some cash out for, I think it was solar or something. And she had just recently transitioned from being W-2 she's always been kind of W-2, 1099, independent contractor, depending on how the agent, I guess, was paying her. And so she sent everything over. She reached out to me, sent everything over, and I said, hey, it kind of crunched the numbers and put everything together, and it just wasn't going to work for a 15-year fix. Just the ratios were just too high. And so I called her back and I said, are you open-minded tonight? That was my
Nice
number one
starting
question.
point. Yeah, nice way to start the convo.
She said yes, and I said, okay, so here's kind of what I've put together for you. And we paid off a couple other debts, some higher interest rate debts and some higher balance debts. Did a 30-year fixed to support the ratios. Had to pay off a couple of debts to get the ratios down, just with the uniqueness of her income, and of course, going to being independent contractor. On paper it looked like the income decreased, but in reality it's probably increasing, right?
Some write-offs, yeah.
And we got her the cash out that she needed for the solar. In the middle of the transaction, I think her AC unit went out, so she needed a little bit more cash out. Thankfully she had the equity to do it, but I mean, we mapped it out where she'll have the mortgage paid off in 10 years, right? She's just reallocating the monies for the auto loan that we paid off and some of the other little cards, debts that we paid off. If she was to reallocate that towards the additional payments towards the principal balance every single month on a 30-year term, plus the amount that she would be saving with solar being contributed towards the mortgage, she actually has the mortgage paid off in 9.5 years.
Jeez, that's incredible.
Insane.
And whereas 1-800, whatever servicer she had would have never figured that out.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
maybe.
amazing.
We always want to give another loan officer the benefit of the doubt, right?
But it's highly unlikely.
But yeah, I mean, obviously didn't have the wherewithal to, sorry, you don't qualify for a 15-year fix, and that was pretty much it. So she
Right.
called me.
Yeah.
And, it's just kind of thinking outside the box, right?
Yeah.
So not only good at figuring out the Rubik's Cube for those rescue scenarios, but just thinking outside the box, I think, is in general important
Looking
too.
at the big picture on everything.
Yeah, I mean, and she had to make a little bit of a sacrifice, right? I mean, because interest rates on a 15-year fix versus a 30-year fix, I mean, rates are going to be lower on a shorter term, right?
Right.
Sure.
And so she mentally wanted to make sure she was prepared for a 30-year fixed interest rate versus a 15-year fixed interest rate, but she loved it.
Worked out great for her.
Thankfully, that night she was open-minded, right?
Yeah, you got her at a good time.
went
That's
for
a-
it.
Yeah.
That's a good
worked
success
out.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a fun transaction too. So we got it done quick but it was good.
That's
Well,
awesome.
good, man. So I know we'll transition here. It's exciting to see what your team's doing. Market is still insanely hot,
Yeah.
and rates are still insanely low. So it's a good time to refinance, buy up, downsize. I mean, it's all the above.
All the
The
above.
market's there, right?
Invest,
Invest,
Yeah,
get an
invest.
investment
I mean,
property, get a second home.
rental prices are through the roof. My
Crazy.
goodness. Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
friend looking for a short-term apartment. It's like one bedroom's over $2,000 a month
Oh
in this
my
area now. It's
gosh.
just crazy.
Insane.
Can't even imagine.
Insane.
So, yeah, getting into investing is not a bad option because everyone will always need housing, right? I mean, that's
Right.
always.
Yeah.
Always. So,
Yeah.
Well, good. I know you're also going through as we close out here some personal things of the 75-day hard challenge.
Yeah. 75 hard.
Always intrigued me. I've yet to jump in because what I do is I love beer, right?
Yeah.
So I have a really good friend, actually a consultant that's working in on our agency right now. She's from the East Coast, Rhode Island, and she started. She's probably about 30 to 40 days in.
Oh, wow, I didn't
she's
know
further
she was,
along than I am.
Yeah, she was trying to tell me to join it, and I kept saying, I want to, but my birthday's coming up, and I want to have a beer, and then, I have a golf tournament in September, and I know I want to drink. So, and she's like, I did the same thing for a while. You're never going to find a good time. You just need to do it and do it. And she's loving it. So you mentioned you're 25 days in?
Today I'm on day 26 right now.
26.
Yeah.
My goodness.
What
Congratulations.
changes have you seen so far?
I mean, of course, people are telling me I don't see it, right? You know,
You lost it.
I downloaded the app just to kind of, you know, and it's like I look at the calendar and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm only 26 days in. This is like, what's going on? I mean, it's tough. It is hard. I will say that for sure. But for me, the reason why I decided to do it was, you know, some people do it for weight loss, some people do it for better mental clarity and getting rid of the brain fog. You know, 2020 was rough, you know, with the transition from one company to Fairway to, you know, COVID to, you know, having teammates work from home, and I'm a very hands-on type of a guy and want to be able to walk to Carla's desk and she's only in the office a couple of days a week, and having to, you know, call instead of, you know, it was tough, and then the, you know, just holding on for dear life, it played a role on just, you know, I felt like it wasn't until about like maybe 11:30, 12 o'clock in the afternoon where the brain fog started to wear off. Yeah. And it was something had to change. And so I decided to just do a full revamp. Yeah. And started, and you know, it's tough, but I'm definitely starting to have that mental clarity come back. I think I did something on my stories the week or so ago. Like, I feel like the old Nick is back, and you know, ready to run through walls again, and awesome. You know, keep growing.
Maybe
going.
you'll inspire us.
Well, no, I know it is inspiring.
Yeah,
that's what I said
really
when I know I'm eventually going to be doing it. When I do it, I'll probably be reaching out to you for guidance and pointers because it is not easy.
As he chugs his water.
Are you? I know there's a couple variances of it, but it's 2 workouts a day for 45 minutes each. One has to be outside.
Right. Yep.
You have to stick to a meal plan of whatever. No cheat days.
Yep.
No cheat days. No alcohol.
Yep.
And then I know another one that a lot of people don't do is cold showers. Are you doing that one as well?
Oh,
I've always kind of done that.
Okay, yeah. So cold showers.
Isn't there something about you have to read a certain amount of pages
and read,
in the book?
right?
So, yeah, I mean, it's basically 2 workouts a day for 45 minutes. One has to be outside. There's also, let's see here, we've got that. We've got read 10 pages of a nonfiction book, take a progress picture every single day, drink a gallon of water a day. Yeah. I lived in the bathroom for the first week and a half, 2 weeks. I literally was thinking about getting a catheter.
Don't want to leave my desk. Just get a catheter.
Yeah, that's
and follow a diet plan, and basically no alcohol, no cheat meals the entire time.
Man, great job.
It's about discipline.
Yeah,
it's really.
I was going to say that's exactly what it's about, and that's just fantastic. You're succeeding at that as well, and setting yourself up for a monster end of a third and fourth quarter, and on to 2022 here, man.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about tomorrow because we're going to the A's game. Like,
No
Pack your
churros.
food.
No, nothing. Yeah.
No churros, no beer. It's like that's my 2 staples at the Giants games: churros and beer. It's disgusting, but
and
I love
nachos.
It'll be tough, but hey, got to stick it through, right?
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, just wanted to thank you for taking the time to come on the show. I love your story.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Love your team. I'm so happy we get a chance to get to know them a little bit better, and I'm really, really excited to see where your journey continues to take you with your marketing, your branding, your client experience, and just everything you got going on, man. Congratulations on everything, because I know it's been not luck. It's been a ton of hard work.
Yeah.
Outsiders see it. I see it, and I know a lot of other people do. So, and I know your team loves you. So that's all the attributes of a good leader is you're doing it, right? The team couldn't say enough good things about you last night.
Yeah, I agree.
When you're not there, which is important.
That's good, yeah.
And,
nice.
and you're out there leading the way. So congratulations. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank
For anyone that's listening that wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way? Is it through social media, email? I mean, what's a good contact for you?
Yeah, I mean, social media or email. I mean, we can adapt to however the client wants to reach out to us. But social media, or call us, text us, email us. I mean, we're ready.
What's a good phone number for you guys?
916-730-6339.
Perfect.
Is the best number.
Okay.
Get a hold of us.
Fantastic.
Call or text that number anytime.
And it's Nick Lucia. So
Lucia.
I have that locked in. It's never going to be mispronounced again in my life.
Nope.
So
I've gotten it all right. Lucia, Lucia. I mean,
Lucia is what I always say.
Yeah, Lucia is what I said too.
So.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for listening, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye.